This is the RingConn personal health tracker, and built into this tiny little ring is a heart rate sensor, a skin temperature sensor, a blood oxygen saturation sensor, a 3D accelerometer, and of course a battery to power all of this for up to a week. Now, RingConn is a titanium-built health tracker that comes in black, silver, and gold. Throughout this video, I'll be showing the silver edition of this ring, which I actually think has a very premium look to it, especially considering it's priced well below a lot of the other competitive options for rings in this category. And the RingConn Health Tracker costs $280, and it'll track things like your steps, your calories burned, standing time, sleep, sleep quality, your heart rate variability, all without the bulk of a big smartwatch. And I'll try to find, any sort of deals that I can find that are out there, and I'll put them in the description of this video and pin a comment to the top of this video as well. But keep in mind that this is not like a sponsored video or anything like that. Even though my overall opinions of this tiny little device are really on the positive side. Now, this is my third smart ring that I've purchased and tested on this channel, and I've grown to understand that the purchasing process for buying these little smart rings, it isn't super quick. So if you're hoping to get this for someone for Christmas, I would say, now's the time to start getting the ball rolling. You don't have to, but when you purchase one of these rings, you can first get their sizing kit. That's something that I always do, but it allows you to try a few different sized rings, and not just for like a quick second or two, but you can try it for a day or two. Make sure that you really like the way that it feels, the way that the size fits on the exact finger that you want to wear it on. And I'm mostly using this ring on my index finger. Generally, you're going to get more accurate results for heart rate data if you are using it on a larger finger, like your index finger. And I say more accurate, but really it's actually hard to know how accurate this device is because there's no way to export out heart rate data specifically and compare it to like a known good source of heart rate data, something like an ECG style chest strap. So I'm wearing this ring on my index finger, and I'm generally trying to keep the two little bumps that are on the inside of the ring facing down, or at least situated downward, so that the optical heart rate sensor that's built in here is getting the best data from the bottom of my finger. But if you want my quick, unscientific view of how accurate really any of these heart rate rings are, I will say that when you're at rest or sleeping or your hand's not moving a ton, it's actually pretty decent. But when you're actually moving and you're active and you're lifting weights or you're running or playing tennis, probably not super accurate. I will say in those situations, I think the main idea here is to give you an idea on when you're increasing your heart rate and not necessarily taking something like this product and replacing something like a chest strap or a different heart rate tracker that might be intended for sports activities. But when you're buying, you will need to confirm the ring size. So you just log into your account and submit your choice through that little My Account panel. And then in another week or so, you'll get your RingConn in the mail. So all in all, not a super fast process, maybe a week to get your sizing kit and then another week to get your ring. It wasn't a huge deal for me personally, but if you are, one of those impulsive people, this might be a little bit hard for you. Now in the box, you'll see the ring itself, a portable charging case, USB-A to USB-C cord, the user's manual, and a quick start guide. Not that I think that you're gonna need a ton of instructions to use this particular device. Basically, you put the ring on, download the RingConn app, Bluetooth connect the ring to the smartphone, and the app will guide you through that whole process. But the portable charging case is actually really cool, and it's something that I haven't seen from any of the other companies. I'm heading off to Amsterdam for the next week, and I'll only need to bring this one little case, and it can charge my Ring 15 to 18 times. I'll probably only need to charge this Ring once during that trip. I will say that over the last 60 days or so that I've been testing the Ring, I've only had to charge it up about once per week, or maybe once every 6 days or so. And you will get a little notification saying from your smartphone that the battery is starting to get low, just to remind you to charge it up. Charging seems fine for me, like maybe 2 hours to get it fully charged. If you do need to see the current battery life of the Ring, you can see that in the application, but I didn't actually see a way to visualize the battery status of the charging case itself. There might be a way, maybe I didn't find it, but the Ring size is specific to the case, so you might be able to stuff a larger Ring on here and kind of push it against the charging prongs, but a smaller Ring wouldn't fit on here. Really, these are ideally suited for the specific Ring that you purchased. Now, the Ring itself seems plenty durable to me. I've mostly been swimming, biking, and running with it. It's IP68 rated waterproof and dustproof. So, don't hesitate to take it for a swim or shower with the device on. Overall, I don't think it looks super scratched up. Don't get me wrong, it's a titanium Ring. It's definitely going to have some scratches with it with just normal wear and tear. I actually post a lot of macro shots within my videos here, so you can clearly see a few scratches. I'll just say that it's actually a lot harder to see scratches like this in reality. In reality, I think that you would never notice any scratches on it at all, especially from a slight distance. I did have one issue with my Ring where it wasn't actually giving me any sleep data for the first week that I owned it, which was good. It was actually a great chance for me to test RingConn's customer service, and they actually suggested that I update to the latest firmware, which fixed the issue completely. But it did take them about 3 days to get back to me. So not super impressive, but everything has been fine since. Now, if we do hop over to the smartphone app, we can take a look at what data we actually get to see when we're wearing this Ring. On the top, you'll see a synchronizing indicator. You can click on that little wavy line to see your current vital metrics. In here, there's stuff like heart rate, SpO2, blood oxygen saturation, HRV, or that's heart rate variability. It does show an average HRV in here. I'd really like to see a little bit more in here. I'd love to see sleeping average HRV over a few days, or maybe even a few weeks. We do want to kind of try to establish a norm for our HRV and then look for variations. But you can click on any of these charts to expand them and click around and see specific values. And then from the main section of the application, you can also click on the top right Ring icon and see details about your device. That's stuff like battery life and a little bit more about your Ring. And then there's days of the week back on that main page as well. And you can scroll through that and look at previous days' data. And then there's a sleep tab where you can see stuff like how you progress through different sleep stages throughout the night. So that's stuff like when you are awake, your REM sleep, your light sleep, or your deep sleep. Then there's an overall sleep score. For me, it seems to be a little bit too optimistic. I actually feel like I sleep like shit, and it always gives me a score in the 90s. And then under the activities tab, there's also a score. It's a little tricky because I don't think it accounts for days when I go swimming like I did yesterday. But if I do an easy 3-mile run or something like that, it'll definitely give me a score in the 90s. I think it's mostly taking into account the steps taken on a particular day to account for that activity score. There's also a stress section or a stress tab in here, and it's looking at stuff like your heart rate or your heart rate variability to come up with that score. Again, I'm not sure that that's ideal for me. Personally, I'm often a lot less stress when I'm out running or on the trails, when oftentimes my heart rate is higher or my HRV might be lower. But that's just me. Those are just my own personal scores and the things that this thing is reporting for me as stress. They do have a way in the trends tab here to add a week's chart of any specific metric that's collected. So for example, I can add a trending chart for sleeping HRV or sleeping, SpO2 or maybe sleeping average heart rate, something like that, which is cool. It's kind of just what we want to look at, but I'd still love a little bit more insight into, what's going on here. I wish I could see from this if there was a good night or a bad night, maybe how that's affecting athletic ability and things like that. That's the kind of stuff that I am seeing a little bit more insight in with the morning report that my Garmin watch gives me each morning. And then speaking of competitive products, the other two smart ring products that I've reviewed here on this channel are the Oura Ring, which I ended up returning, and the Ultra Human Air Smart Ring. Now the reason I returned the Oura Ring was strictly because I didn't like paying a subscription fee to access my own health data. But other than that, I did like the ring. I liked the fit of the ring. I liked the overall product. I liked the metrics that were reported and the way that they were reported. Now the Ultra Human Air Ring is an interesting alternative. It does cost more than the RingConn and the Oura Ring actually, but it costs $350, but it doesn't require a subscription fee. And it's also the slimmest and lightest weight device amongst the 3 rings that I've tested. Not that that was really a deal breaker for me. In fact, I think that I prefer the design of the RingConn personally, but the Ultra Human Air Ring probably did the most to try to adjust or nudge my behavior in a positive manner. For example, while wearing the Ultra Human Air Ring, I'd get notifications on my phone to start avoiding caffeine, or it would give me suggested bedtimes. And I do get some helpful notifications from RingConn. I would just say maybe not quite as helpful. But if you do want to learn more about that Ultra Human Air Ring, I do have a full review and I'll link it up here in the corner as well as in the description of this video. I think the biggest advantage is probably the weight to it, maybe the weight in those gentle nudging notifications. But what I like most about the RingConn, especially in comparison, is the lower price. I love the fact that it doesn't require a subscription fee, again, comparing it to something like the Oura Ring, and I really love the overall look of the device. But I wish it was a little bit more helpful in guiding me towards some more of those beneficial habits. I think that this is really the whole point in wearing one of these health trackers. And again, it's something that Ultra Human really excels at. These rings, they know when I typically sleep, and I would love for it to suggest times to start avoiding screens, start avoiding caffeine, things to improve those sleep metrics. It knows my HRV or my heart rate variability, but it isn't really making any logical conclusions about my workouts based on my average heart rate over the past couple nights' sleeps. If you are into athletics, you should know that little things like your HRV or your resting heart rate, those are great metrics to track, and they can kind of give you little indicators as to when you might be starting to get sick or how ready you are to take on a difficult workout on that particular day. That's the kind of stuff that I would love to see some insights from based on the metrics that are within the app. And I do like this application. I just say that I'd love for them to work on some of those insights. And there is a section within the application with some good insights. It's just kind of buried a little bit. If you actually go to this Me tab on the bottom right, weekly report, you can actually see RingConn's insight into your sleep activities and your stress, as well as some really nice suggestions in here. So the start of some really good insights, I would say. I just love to see RingConn, maybe elevate some of this data or elevate some of this information, either to a few precisely timed smartphone notifications or perhaps moving some of these insights onto the summary page of the application. But these are just largely software improvements, and I actually think that RingConn might be listening and willing to make improvements in these areas in the very near future. So keep in mind that this review is of a specific time, late November of 2023, and I expect to see some changes within the application as we go forward. Overall, I'm extremely pleased with the value that you get from RingConn. It kind of strikes that perfect balance between being an extremely good looking ring at a very good price without the need for a subscription service. So if you are considering a Ring health tracker, I would highly recommend that you consider RingConn as one of your options. And if you personally have used any of these Ring health trackers, let me know in the comments section. Let me know if it's working for you. Let me know what you wish were different about the device that you owned, or really just how you feel about these trackers in general. Either way, health tracker or nothing at all, I really do hope that you're getting out there, swimming, biking, running, rinsing, and repeating it all over again. And we will see you guys on the next one.